Want to join later. And for the people who are just joining the recording, I just want you to know that we will be using weights today. So you'll want a set of weights. You might want a heavier and lighter set of weights or just one set of weights. And we will begin, as we typically do, lying down. So let's make our way over to our mats. Oh, I forgot to mention, we might be using a chair today. So after we get up, you can maybe go find a chair. Or if you're doing the video, grab a chair. But regardless of that, let's begin lying down. And just arrive here now. Let your body and your mind settle into the present moment. We're going to take this time right now to just immerse ourselves in what we're experiencing in the present moment. So in this moment, what are you feeling? What are you feeling? The floor beneath you, feeling the clothing on your body, feeling the air around you. Notice if there's any sound, you're hearing the sound of my voice. Is there any other sound that you're experiencing in this moment? Notice if there's any scent or any smell that you can smell in this moment. And chances are your eyes are closed. But even when our eyes are closed, we kind of have an awareness of light, sort of penetrating, or you have something that you see that's not total blackness oftentimes. So just totally really inhabit what it feels like to be lying down in this moment. And as you're lying down, just scan the body, and if you can feel any areas where you know that you're holding tension, often areas in the head and neck and jaw, or in the forehead, or between the eyes, or in the shoulders, or in the gut. If you're holding that tension, just recognize it and see if you can let it soften a little bit. Take a moment and try to soften or broaden the roof of your mouth. Our little wonderful technique for releasing tension. And then let's begin to really pay attention to our breathing. So let's feel what it feels like to invite a deep breath in. And feel what it feels like to let that breath empty all the way out. Breathing in through the nose if that's available to you. And then when you breathe out, that can be out through the nose or out through the mouth, whichever feels better, whichever allows you to release the breath more fully and completely. So invite the breath in, let it expand, feel what that feels like. And as you breathe out, let the exhale carry with it the held in tension that you might be holding in during these challenging times. So the in-breath can be cool, positive, refreshing, cleansing. And the out-breath is a releasing, an emptying, a letting go. All the emotion that is stirring all around us that may have landed in our bodies, we're just going to let that go. Making space for that cool, fresh, positive inhalation of breath, filling us up. And then that nice release, that emptying out. So the breath can be a freeing opportunity, an opportunity to relax or reset the nervous system. And as we're breathing deeply, let's just consider if there's something we'd like to focus on this morning or some quality we'd like to cultivate for today. Maybe we just want to stay calm today. We just want to breathe in calm, steadiness. Maybe we just want to cultivate patience today. Or maybe there's something else that you'd like to infuse into your practice this morning. Just take a moment, consider, and maybe breathe that in for a couple of rounds of breath. Recognizing that one thing we always want to infuse into our practice is just really paying attention and offering ourselves the appropriate practice for how we're feeling physically, mentally, and emotionally. And then we'll begin to transition to a more natural breath rhythm. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Let's take our, if there's something under your head, slide it away. We're going to lift our heads up. We're going to clasp our hands beneath our heads, letting the weight of the head rest back into the hands. Let's take a breath in. And on an exhale, we'll start to curl up. So knit your ribs into your belly, curl yourself up until you can see if you can get your shoulder blades off the floor and feel the back of your low ribs down on the floor. And then inhale and release back. So again, knit your ribs as you exhale and curl up. Come up so those shoulder blades are off. Lower ribs are pressing down and in. Inhale back. Again, exhale and curl up. And when you're up now, I want you to rotate or twist towards your device and then reach that arm to come across towards the opposite knee. And then release back and breathe. Exhale and curl up. And then twist the other way, away from your device, and reach your arm across to that outside knee. And then lower yourself back down. Exhale and curl up, twist across, and reach to the outside of the opposite knee towards your device. Inhale back. Exhale, curl up, press your low ribs down, twist across, reach across, and then inhale, release back. A few more like this. Exhale, curling up, twisting across, reaching across, and then inhaling, releasing back. Exhaling, curling up, twisting across, reaching across, inhaling back. One more time each side. Curl up, twist, reach across, inhale, release back. Exhale, curl up, twist, and reach, and release back. Nice job. As your head goes back down, just take your arms out like a T on the floor. And let's lift the feet up off the floor, bringing knees over hips. Take a breath in here and just let your knees drop over about halfway to one side and hold them there. Knees are somewhat together. We're going to take a breath in. With our exhale, we'll bring those knees back to center. Let's let the knees drop to the other side, about halfway over. Hold them there and take a breath. And with the exhale, bring those knees back up. So let's try that with the legs straight. Straighten your legs up, kind of loosen them up a little bit. You can circle your ankles, wiggle your toes. And then with your legs together, we're going to take them over to one side, maybe not quite as far. Hold them there and take a breath. Exhale them back to center. Take them over to the other side, hold them there and take a breath. Exhale back to center. Now as we're center, we're gonna try and curl the hips up in the air and then roll back out. So we're gonna take the legs over to one side, hold them there, take a breath. Exhale and bring them back to center. We're gonna take a breath here. And on the exhale, we're gonna curl the hips up off the floor and then release them down. And then let the legs go over to the other side, hold them there and take a breath. Exhale back to center. We'll take a breath here. On an exhale, we're gonna curl those hips up off the floor and then lower them down and let the legs drop over to the other side. Hold them there, take a breath. Exhale, legs back up. Take a breath here. Exhale and curl the hips up off the floor and lower down. Take the legs to the other side. Hold them there and take a breath. Exhale, back to center. Take a breath here. Exhale and curl up. And then inhale, release. Over to the side. Take a breath. Maybe you can go a little further. Exhale those legs back up. Take a breath. Exhale and curl up. And then roll out. Let the legs go over to the other side. Hold them there and take a breath. Exhale back to center. One more time. Take a breath here. Exhale and curl those hips up. And then lower back down. Nice job. All right, bend your knees. Give your knees a little hug. Just sway, just move in some way that feels nice. You might want to open your knees out wide. Bring your knees back in. Lower your feet down. And let's roll to the side facing our device. And we'll come up on our forearm. We're going to have elbow right beneath shoulder, or you might have it a little further out. We'll place one hand on the hip. We're going to stack our knees, kind of an open angle of the knees. And we're going to do a kneeling side plank. So we're going to press down with the knees to lift the hips up. So we could be here. We could add an arm reaching up. We could add a leg reaching out if we like. Yeah. So can you, whether you're holding just with your knees stacked or with your leg out, could you lift your bottom side waist a bit more and take a breath? And then we'll come back down. So let's do that again. We're going to come up. We might extend the leg and lift the arm and take a breath. And then we're going to come back down. A couple more. We're going to come up, extend the arm, extend the leg. And then we're going to come back down. A few more like that. Lifting up, maybe reaching out, and then lowering back down and coming up. Reach. Could you lift your bottom side waist a bit more? And then come back down. And last one, come up, maybe reach out and lift up a little higher. Good work. And then lower back down. All right, let's swing our legs around to the other side. So we lower onto our other forearm, pressing down, creating some space here. Knees are stacked, top hand on the hip. Press down to lift up. Could you lift up a little higher? Maybe reaching an arm up, maybe extending a leg out. We'll take a breath. And then we're going to lower down. Let's do that a few more times. Lifting up and reaching out. And then lowering back down. So this creates work in the bottom hip, in the bottom side waist. So it's a nice way to warm up the core. Let's do that again. We're going to come up, reach out. Could you lift that bottom side waist a bit more? And then lower down. And last one. Press down to come up, maybe reaching out and lifting through that bottom side waist. Nice job. All right, let's come around to all fours. Hands right beneath shoulders, knees right beneath hips. You might move around a little bit side to side. You might want to extend or flex your spine a little bit. Just do a few things to loosen up that feel nice in your body. Move your head in some way that frees you up a little bit. And then just coming to center, let's curl the toes under and we're going to lift the knees a little bit. So we're in kind of a hovering table position here. So one option is just to hold this hover here. let's just take a breath and then we'll take a little break back on our knees. So we're going to lift the knees again. You could just hold like this, or you could take one hand and touch the opposite knee and put that hand back down. Take the other hand and touch the opposite knee and put that hand back down. So you could be alternating, touching a knee. If you want a greater challenge, as you reach and touch the knee, you could lift that foot off the floor and then put the hand and foot down. So you could touch and lift, or you could touch and not lift, or you could just be holding a hovering table. So if we lift the hand and put it back down, we add a little impact on these weight-bearing movements to potentially help maintain some bone health, some bone density. So a couple more. Just bearing the weight is good, but adding a little bit of impact is thought to be helpful in maintaining bone density. All right, nice work. Let's come down to knees. Let's take a moment in child's pose. Sit back on your heels. Your arms could be out in front, they could be at your side, they could be supporting your head. Take a moment to just connect with your breath, connect with your body, connect with how you're feeling. Connect with what you might be infusing into your practice this morning. All right. With our next breath, let's lift our heads up and reach our arms way out in front and make our way to downward facing dog. Taking those hips up and back. Really connecting to the earth through the hands. Feet are about as wide as hips. Knees can be soft as we draw the hips way up and back, letting the head just dangle. Move your head around a little bit, free up your neck. Feel the heaviness of your head dangling there. Let's bend a knee and press a heel to the floor. Bend that knee and press the other heel down. Alternate again, one time on each side. And then we're going to bend both knees a bit. See if we can draw the hips a little further up and back as we breathe in and out. And then we're going to walk our hands back towards our feet, lowering the heels down. Feel your feet nice and planted as you take a deep breath into your upper back. And then as you begin to exhale, draw your belly in and begin to roll yourself up with nice soft bent knees. So it's easy on your back as you roll yourself up, eventually bringing your head up. All right, great. So I mentioned earlier, I didn't give you a lot of warning, that we could use a chair today. So if you have a chair you can go and grab, that'd be great. You could, if you don't have a chair nearby, you could just mimic having a chair, because we're going to do squatting basically, and we're just going to use the chair to switch it up a little bit. So I want you to reach back and sit on the chair. We're going to kind of sit more towards the front of the chair. So have your feet about hip distance apart. You're sitting towards the front of the chair, and we're just going to come up to stand. So we're going to sit back on the chair, and we're going to come up to stand. So if you didn't have a chair, you could just be like imagining a chair, because that's where we're going to go. So we're going to sit back into the chair, and then we're going to come back up. So as you're sitting back into the chair, could you reach your arms overhead? And then as you straighten up, lower your arms. So you're going to sit down and reach your arms overhead, and then lower your arms as you come up. So now see if you can just barely touch the chair. So you're really not sitting into it. You're just letting your bum lightly touch the chair. Have your feet hip distance apart. Have your knees tracking in the direction of your toes. And as you're sitting back and lightly touching the chair, your arms are going up. Now, don't touch the chair. Go almost to touching the chair, but don't quite touch. So you're sitting back in a squat, not quite touching the chair. If you went a centimeter further, you'd be touching the chair. And let's just do this one more time. Now, as you come up, I want you to rise up onto your balls of your feet. So we're going to lower the heels, sit back, almost touch the chair, and then lift your heels. Sit back, lift your arms, rise up, lift your heels. Sit back, Lift your arms, rise up, lift your heels. Couple more. Sitting down and lifting up and sitting down and rising up. One more time. Sitting down and rising up. Good job. All right, let's set that chair aside. And let's go and stand at the front of our mat. We're going to flow a little bit. So we'll stand at the front of our mat, rooting down, feeling connected to the earth, ground ourselves. So just take a moment and feel solid. Feel your connection to the ground. Take a deep breath in and out as you feel yourself grounded and connected to the earth. Today might be a good day to do this frequently. It's an anxious day, it's election day. So taking a few moments today to just feel your feet on the ground or feel your seat on the ground and just taking a breath in and out and letting the exhale be a way of letting go anxiety, stress, whatever worry we have. This might be a really useful practice today. So one more time, just ground yourself and breathe deeply. And then as you ground down this time, reach your arms out, and as you breathe in, reach them up. Really lengthen and lift. And then let's swan dive forward, letting the knees soften as we fold over. Take a breath into your upper back. As you exhale, we're going to try and extend the spine forward. Hands can go to shins. Really trying to lengthen between the shoulder blades. And then inhale and round forward. We're going to bring our hands down and walk our feet back to downward facing dog. You can drop to knees first and then come up. Or just make your way to down dog. All right, down dog. We're going to lift the hips up and back and breathe. And exhale into straight arm plank. So as we're holding this straight arm plank, you know, we're using our hands, our arms to push the floor away. We feel the work in our arms. Could you also fire up the muscles in your legs? Kind of activate the muscles in the front of your thighs. Can you activate your glutes a little bit to fire up the backs of the legs? So you feel strong support through your legs. Your belly's going to fire any old way. But could you lift your hips a centimeter higher, a 1/4 inch higher, and let that create a little more action in your belly muscles? Take a breath here. And then as you exhale, lift up and back to down dog. So relax your legs and let your knees bend here as you come into down dog. Take a breath here. And then exhale, come back into your straight arm plank, pushing the floor away, firing up the legs, engaging the glutes a bit, lifting the hips just slightly so the belly turns on. Take a breath here. As you exhale, let your knees drop behind you, not under your hips. Let them drop where they land. Uncurl your toes, lower your chest into the mat. Keep your hands where they are. Push back up to knees. Curl the toes under, lift the legs, fire them up, engage the glutes, lift the hips a 1/2 inch. Lift your hips up and back, down dog. Take a breath. Exhale, lower to straight arm plank. Use the legs, use the glutes, use the belly. Take a breath. Exhale, drop your knees down behind you. Unfurl your toes, lower your chest into the floor. And again, push back up to knees. Curl the toes under, lift the knees, fire up the legs, fire up the glutes, lift the belly. Take the hips up and back. Take a breath. Exhale, straight arm plank, nice and strong. Take a breath. Exhale to knees. Unfurl the toes. Lower your chest down. All right, push up to knees and now take your hips back. Arms are way out in front. Can you lower your forehead to the floor? Then come up and forward and lower down. We're going to push up again. Take the hips back, lower the forehead down. Lift your head, bring the hips forward, lower your chest down. One more time like this. Push up, take your hips back, lower your forehead. Lift your head up. This time we're going to come all the way down and stay down. All right, so slide the heels of your hands back a bit by your low ribs to allow your chest to sink more into the floor. Let your nose touch the floor and then just lift it ever so slightly so you're looking straight down. Reach back through the toes. Press the tops of the feet down for a moment to fire up the backs of the legs. Press the front of the hips down, lengthen through the crown of the head. And as you inhale, start to draw your heart forward as you press the heels of your hands back and see if you can extend your spine in your upper back, like right between your shoulder blades. So you're trying to arch not into your low back, but into that upper back where your ribs are. Can you extend your spine forward there and then lower back down? As you're here, can you knit your ribs in a little bit? Knit your low ribs into your belly and keep them a little bit knit, and then do the same thing. Try to extend your spine to try to keep you from moving that extension into your low back. If we knit the ribs, it can help us move that extension into the upper back and then lower back down. Okay, let's inhale up to baby cobra, just as we did, a little knitting of the ribs. And then if we like, we can push down and come up a bit higher. But again, we want to extend all through the spine, not just into the low back. And then lower back down. Great. Let's release the hands so that they're alongside the body. You might roll your wrists a little bit. My wrists got a little tight there. All right. So the back of the hands are resting on the floor. Toes are reaching back. We're long through the crown of the head. Let's press the hips down and lift the legs up. Feel those hamstrings and glutes firing. Reach back through the fingertips and again, lift your heart up. Maybe knit the ribs as you lift the chest up. Reach back. Could you lift the legs a bit more? Could you lift from right between the shoulder blades a bit more? And take a breath. And lower back down. Nice work. All right, let's come on to forearms. Get your elbows right beneath you. You can measure fingertip to elbow, elbow to fingertip. And then push the floor away to lift your chest up. We're going to curl the toes under and we're going to lift the hips up. So we're going to start with our knees down and our hips off the floor. So you want to activate the belly. I mean, it's going to work to hold you here, but if you thought about lifting the hips slightly higher, could you feel a little more engagement in the belly muscles? So you could be here on your knees, or you could lift your knees into full forearm plank. And then same idea, can you fire up the front of the thighs? Can you activate the glutes a little? Can you activate the backs of the legs and maybe lift the hips a centimeter higher? We're going to take a breath here. And then we're going to try and stir the pot. So this can be done with knees up or knees down. We're going to take the hips a little to the side, lift the hips up, take them to the other side, lower them down. Take them to the side, lift them up, take them to the side, lower down. We're going to circle in this direction 2 more times. And then when we come back to center, we'll go the other way. Take the hips to the side, lift them up, other side, lower down. When you lower down, don't let the belly drop. Just come back to neutral. 2 more times, up and around, and back to center. 1 more time. Good job. All right, lower down. Those are challenging. Let's bring the chest down and let the head rest on the hands. Give your neck and shoulders a break. You might move your hips a little side to side to release any tension in your low back. Great. All right. Let's press the hips down and lift the legs up. And could you just make little tiny circles with your legs? Little tiny circles. In one direction and then in the other. Just firing up those glutes in different ways. Nice job. Relax your legs down. Bring your hands back next to chest. Push back to knees. Let's go all the way back to child's pose. Sitting back on the heels, rounding over the legs. Your head could be supported by your arms. Breathe in and out. Check in. Offer yourself a little love, a little care, a little tenderness, just a little awareness. With your next breath in, lift your head up, reach your arms out. Let's make our way to downward facing dog. Breathe in and out here. And then we're going to drop down onto our knees. And we're going to stand on our knees. So if you're on a hard surface, if you want to slide a blanket under, we're going to put all the weight on one knee. So you might want to cushion that knee. Let's step the right foot out in front. So we have that heel kind of right beneath the knee. We're just going to let the weight move a little forward. So we're getting some stretch in the front of that back thigh and hip, and then push back. Let the weight move forward. Keep a little tone in the belly as you do this, so you're not dumping into the low back. So we're letting the knee move forward. As you're here now with the weight forward, let's take that same arm as the back leg and just reach it up. Big breath in as we stretch up. And then let it come down. And then push the weight back. Let's change sides. So other footsteps out in front. You can have your heel right under your knee or a little further forward. And you put your hand on that front knee. We're just going to let the weight move a little forward and then push it back. We're going to let the weight move a little forward and then push it back. This time, let the weight move forward, and then the arm that's the same as the back leg, we're going to sweep it up. You can put a little weight in the back knee as the arm reaches up. Take a breath, and then let that arm come down. Let's just step that front foot in. We'll curl the back toes under, and we're going to push up to stand. All right, so we're going to work with the weights now. And I think for this one, you could probably take your heavier weights if you have 2 sets of weights. We're just going to come into a lunge. So you can stand at the front of your mat and just take a big step back. Doesn't matter which foot really. Big step back. And then lift that back heel up if you can. And have your feet hip distance apart. So you don't want too narrow of a stance. You'll be more stable if they're hip distance. So the back heel is up if you can. We're going to bend the back knee. And we'll bend the front knee. So we're going to lunge. And then we're going to push up. So we're going to bicep curl and then lower the arms. Curl the arms up and then lower them down. And we're going to curl them up and then we're going to press them up. So bring them down, lower them down as you lunge, curl them up, press them up as you lunge, bring them down. Lower them down as you lunge, curl them up, press it up, and bring it down. Lower your arms, curl, press it up, bring it down. A few more like this. Think about pushing into that front foot. Each time you straighten, push that foot down. Press up, push the foot down. Bend, push the foot down. Let's do 2 more. Lower and curl and press and curl. Okay, we're going to bend the front knee and lean forward. We're going to take the arms straight back. We're going to lower the arms down. We're going to take them straight back. We're going to lower them down. Take them straight back. Now with your arms straight back, we're just going to bring the lower part of the arm. We're going to curl it in and press it straight back. So from your shoulder to your elbow doesn't move, but your lower arm comes in and presses back. Comes in and presses back. Comes in, working the triceps here. Bend in. Then we're working that front leg. There's a little bit of balance here. Let's do a few more. Bend in and press back. Bend in and press back. Last one here. Hold it back there. Hold it, lift it a little higher, and then drop it down. Great. Put your weight into your front foot, step the back foot in. We're just going to go right to the other side. Big step back with the other foot. I'm actually going to face you guys, so I don't have to turn my head. So feet are hip distance apart. Back heel is lifted. We're going to bend the back knee and bend the front knee. And then straighten. So as you bend, you can curl. And then we're going to straighten. As you bend, you're going to press up and then bring it down. So we're going to lunge and lower the arms and curl, lunge and press up and come down. Lower and curl, press up and lower. You're pushing that front foot down to straighten the legs. You're kind of creating some balance with your back leg. Pushing up, lowering down, pressing up. We'll do a few more of these. You're doing great. Maybe you're starting to feel this in your legs. Maybe you're starting to feel this in your arms. Let's do 2 more. Pressing up. And last one. Good work. All right. So now lower your arms, bend your front knee, lean forward. Take your straight arms down at your side, reach them straight back. And then lower them down and reach them straight back. Again, lower your arms down, reach them straight back. Now, keep the arms where they are, just bend your lower arm in and then extend it all the way back. Bend your lower arms in, extend it all the way back. Nothing's moving from your shoulder to your elbow. Just your lower arm is hinging in and pressing back. And hinging in and pressing back. Let's do 4 more. Hinge in and press back. 3 more. In, press back. Feeling that front leg? In, I am. Press back. Last one. In. Hold it back there. Lift it up. Nice work. Lower it down. Weight into the front foot. Step the back foot in. Straighten up. Nice work. All right. Let's come into a wider stance. So I've been thinking lately about this idea of impact. And it's interesting because, you know, some of you may be familiar with Iyengar. He's kind of like the father of yoga in the West. And his technique, when you go from standing into a wide stance, they always jumped. They jumped into wide stance and they jumped in, which actually is kind of a good practice to have a little weight bearing. So, you know, if you do a lot of walking and stuff, you're getting plenty of weight bearing. But if you're not a person who likes to walk, doing a little, you know, impact like this, there's some logic to this. So you can step into a wide stance or you could jump into a wide stance. And we're going to, once we get into our wide stance, let's turn the right foot in and turn the left foot out. And just begin to bend your front knee. Get that knee over your heel, your ankle. So if your knee's going past, step your foot out so that it's going right over your ankle. Bend and straight. Back foot is turned in as we bend and straight. All right, we're gonna bend this front knee and we're gonna tip over. So you have a weight in this bottom hand, it's just gonna be there. It's not really gonna do much, it's just gonna be there. Now this arm, I want you to bring your weight by your shoulder and then press it up. All right, so your shoulder is facing your device, your arm is reaching up. Now we're gonna bring the weight down and we're gonna rotate the belly and the chest towards the floor. And then we're gonna drop that arm down. So this arm is down and it's kind of hanging down out of your shoulder. So the first thing I want you to do is kind of retract your shoulder back into place. And then lead with your elbow to bring the weight by your armpit. And then rotate your chest towards your device and press your arm up. So we're going to come down to the armpit. We're going to rotate the belly and chest to the floor. We're going to let that top arm roll down. Retract your shoulder, pull the elbow up, hand by your armpit, roll your belly and chest, press up, and then reverse. Roll back down. Start by retracting the shoulder, lift the elbow, roll to face your device, press up, and then reverse. So you're working your core, you're twisting, you're working your shoulder, you're pressing up, and then you're rolling back down. 2 more on this side. Retract the shoulder, lift, press, and roll back down. Retract the shoulder, lift, up, press up, and then roll back down. All right, let's just push up. We're going to change sides. So we're going to turn the feet forward We'll turn this back foot in. We'll turn the right foot out. We'll bend and straighten a few times, finding a nice width for our feet so that when we bend this knee, it's over our heel, our ankle. Let's bend the knee. We're going to tip the hips over. So again, we'll just have this weight in our bottom arm. This top arm, we're going to press it up. So chest is open to your device. Now we're going to bring that arm down and we're going to start to rotate the belly and chest to the floor and let that top arm hang down. Now retract your shoulder, pull your elbow up, hand comes by your armpit. Roll your belly and chest to your device, press up. And then bring that arm down, roll down, lower down. Retract your shoulder, lift your elbow, bring it up, roll to face your device, press up, and then roll back down. A few more like that. Retract, pull, rotate, press, lower, roll, lower, down. Retract, pull, rotate, press up, and reverse. Two more. Retract your shoulder, lift your elbow, rotate, press up, release, and roll down. Last one. Retract, lift, rotate, reach up, and then lower down. Great. All right. Come on up. Turn your feet in. You could walk your feet in. You could step or jump your feet in. All right. Put your weights down. We're going to try and use a chair again. Or if you need to be, you could use a wall, you could use a counter. We just need something to hold on to. So holding on to something, walk your feet back a bit so that you can come into kind of a 90-degree angle. And then take the leg that's closest to your device and swing it straight back. And then lower it down. Same leg. Swing it back and lower it down. Swing it back and lower it down. Now, as you swing it back, can you turn your foot towards your device and turn your hips towards your device? You can look at the device too. And then lower it down. So we're swinging it back and then we're turning the foot parallel to the floor, turning towards your device, and then lower down. So you can just keep doing that, lifting it to the side kind of, or you could try also lifting that top arm up without falling over. Try it again. Turn the foot, rotate the belly and chest, reach the arm up, and then come back down. Two more. Turn the foot out, maybe reach the arm up, and come down. Last one. Swing it back, turn it out, reach the arm up, and lower down. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to put my chair on the other side so I can face you guys. So you're going to walk back. So you're in kind of a right angle here. And then your other leg is going to swing straight back and down, straight back and down. So we can swing it straight back and then turn it to the side, turn your chest, your hips towards your device, and then lower down. So you could just do it that way, kind of lifting the leg out to the side and lowering down. Or you could lift the leg and try lifting the arm up as well. And then coming back down. A little bit of balance work here as we work to strengthen the hips. And then for reaching up, a little rotation like we did earlier. Lift the leg and open. And then lower down. Two more. Lift the leg, turn, open, maybe reach up. And lower down. Last one. Lift the leg, turn, open, and reach up. And then you can walk your feet in and come up to stand. Nice job. All right. So what I wanted to do next with you, so I've been talking a lot about bone density today. And one reason for that is I had a bone scan yesterday. And I found out that my bone density in my hips and in my legs are fine, but in my neck, it's a little weak. And I do have some neck issues. So I used to have a strong headstand practice, which I kind of got away from because I have some cervical spine issues. But I've decided that there's probably benefit to putting some weight on the head to strengthen the muscles and the bones in the neck. And there is a very gentle way to do headstand that I think I'm going to start incorporating back into my daily practice. And I'm just going to share it with you right now. So if you have a book or a block nearby, you might grab it. I like to do this before we do headstand. Or if you don't have something, you can just imagine. But if you put something on your head, like you're going to balance it and walk around, like we all did this when we were young. If you put something and balance it on your head, and then you put some weight onto that, you're going to find the place where you would balance something, where that weight is central, that when you're pressing down, that's the part of our head that we want to put on the floor. So I want you to be aware of where that point is on your head. So sometimes people put their weight too far forward on their head. You want it up on that part of the head where your skull all attaches, where your soft spot used to be. So connect with where that point is. And I'll show you, this isn't going to be a take your legs up in the air headstand. It's just going to be a more restrained headstand. It's called rabbit pose sometimes. So you put that part of your head down on the floor. And you might want to watch me first rather than trying to do it while I'm talking. So we're going to put our head down, that part of our head, and then we're going to cradle the back of our head with our clasped hands. So your forearms rest on the floor. And one option is to just be here. And the second option is going to be to just lift your knees up. So you have a little bit of weight if you're on your knees. You have a little bit of more weight if your knees are up. So if you've been watching me, you can do it now. Place that part of your head where you would balance a book on the floor. Cradle the back of your head, forearms are on the floor. And you could be here on your knees, or you could put a little more weight there. Now, if some of you have no neck issues and you want to try headstand, you're welcome to go to a wall and kick your legs up on the wall. But I think, unless you're feeling really solid, this is going to offer us a lot of the benefit that we're going for. Just putting a little weight on those bones that are in the neck so that they have to do a little work, strengthening the muscles in the neck and bearing some weight to help the bone health. So let's just take one more breath here. And then we're going to drop to knees and we're going to sit back into child's pose. You want to give the neck a release, so we take child's pose where your forehead is supported on your arms or on the floor. And we'll take a few breaths here. So after your next full release of breath, with your next breath in, you can lift your head up and we'll transition to lying on our backs. So go ahead and make your way to lying down. And once you're down, let's hug one knee into chest. So it doesn't matter which leg, hug one knee in and extend the other leg out straight. The leg that's on the floor, you can kind of bounce the knee a few times and then just let it be heavy, loose, floppy, wiggle your foot a little. So can you imagine that someone put a heavy sandbag, a warm, heavy sandbag on your bottom leg? So it's so heavy, it's not going to move. That bottom leg isn't going to move even as your knee that you're hugging pulls in close. Because the tendency when we pull the knee in is that the bottom leg lifts a little bit, and see if you can keep that from happening. Hug the hugged knee in real close. With your same hand, open that knee out to the side, keeping the bottom leg heavy on the floor. Take a breath here. Hug that knee back in. Grab it with both hands and take that knee kind of towards your midline, kind of across towards the opposite shoulder, stretching into that outer hip a little bit here. Take a breath. Bring that knee back in line with that hip. We'll lift that leg up in the air, holding behind the thigh. Let's press the thigh into the hands till your arms become straight. We'll flex the foot, pushing the heel up, pulling the toes towards us. Then we'll point the toes up And then we're going to squeeze the toes. So you stretch deeply in the top of the foot. You activate the muscles in the foot. Then just wiggle that out. Let's try that again. Flex the foot, point the toes, and then squeeze your toes. And then wiggle it out. All right, we're going to change legs. Bend that knee, lower that foot down, and then hug the other knee in and slide the other leg straight. Bounce the knee on the straight leg a few times, and then just let it be loose and heavy. Imagine someone put a really heavy weighted blanket or sandbag on that leg. So it's not going to lift even as you pull the other knee in close. Even as you take that bent knee and open it out to the side and take a breath. As you bring it back, hugging that knee, we're going to bring it across towards the opposite shoulder. Take a breath into that outer hip. We'll bring the knee back. Let's lift the leg up. Hold behind the leg. Press the leg into the hands. Flex your foot. Heel up, toes towards you. Point your toes. Squeeze your toes. Scrunch them up. Big stretch into the top of the foot. Wiggle that out. Do that again. Flex. Heel up, toes down. Point. And then squeeze the toes. Roll them tight. And then wiggle that out. Great. Take this bottom leg, slide it in, and place that foot on the floor. Take this top leg, bend the knee, and drop the ankle just below the bottom knee. Pick your bottom foot up off the floor. You can reach through and grab the back of the furthest away thigh. You can flex that top foot to stabilize that knee a bit, and then just hug in any amount that feels right for you. And breathe. You might take the legs ever so slightly to one side to deepen the stretch in the outer hip. And back to center, maybe ever so slightly to the other side. And back to center, maybe pull them in a little closer. Take a breath. And then lower that bottom foot. Change legs. So the other foot comes down, that first leg comes up, we drop the ankle below the knee. Kind of move the bent knee away from you. Bring the bottom foot up off the floor, bring it in. You can reach between the legs and around for that further away thigh. Grab it and pull it in. Flex your top foot. And breathe here. Maybe take the legs just an inch or so to one side. Take a breath. Back to center. Maybe to the other side a bit. Take a breath. Back to center. Maybe hug them in a little closer. Take a breath. And as you release the breath, you can release the bottom foot. Release the top foot. You can do one more movement if you like, or we're going to transition to our final relaxation. So if we're moving into our final lying down pose, if you're chilly, you might want to put on some socks or put on a layer. You might want to put a pillow or a blanket under your head or something under your knees. So taking these little breaks is, I think sometimes in our culture, we're kind of puritanistic. We think like, we just got to move and work and push and do all the time. But, taking breaks and giving ourselves opportunities for rest is so beneficial. It can help us. It can re-energize us. So that's what we do at the end of our yoga practice. Like the yogis were incredibly smart. They understood the body and they really recognized the value of giving the body time to let everything go. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to lie back, and that solid floor beneath us is going to do the work of holding us up. So all the muscles that we use to hold us up can relax now. The legs can relax. The feet and ankles softening. The knees can relax. All the muscles around the knees. Front of the knees, back of the knees. All those thigh muscles just become really loose and relaxed now. Your legs are just dropping into the floor. We can give the weight of our hips to the floor, letting the belly soften, the gut unclench. Just feeling the muscles of the seat relax. The whole lower body just heavy, resting, releasing. The shoulders can release back, the arms heavy. Let the palms of your hands relax. Feel the front of the chest, the back of the chest, just softening, opening. Let the weight of your head release back. Let your neck relax, your jaw, your throat. Let your forehead soften and smooth. Let your eyes relax. Your cheeks, your temples, your ears. Just soft, relaxed, open. And let yourself just be as you are now. This is a gift we offer ourselves. A chance to experience deep relaxation. Peace, quiet, stillness. Calm. I'm going to share an old reading with you. You're welcome to continue lying back as I read this, so you can transition out of your relaxation, whatever's better. This is from my favorite, Dana Falls. It's called Walk Slowly. She says, "It only takes a reminder to breathe, a moment to be still. And just like that, something in me settles, softens, makes space for imperfection. The harsh voice of judgment drops to a whisper, and I remember again that life isn't a relay race, that we will all cross the finish line, that waking up to life is what we were born for. As many times as I forget, catch myself charging forward without even knowing where I'm going, that many times I can make the choice to stop, to breathe and be, and walk slowly into the mystery. So you might be slowly beginning to transition out of your relaxation, unless you're choosing to stay longer, which is perfectly fine. If you're making your way up and out, you'll eventually come to a seated position. And in doing so, if you want to take a few moments for some quiet reflection or a nice opportunity for bringing to mind a few things for which you're grateful. Grateful for this day, for this gift of life, for this opportunity to practice together. Thank you all for being here. Peace. And I hope you all have a day that is okay, calm, peaceful. I thank you for being here.